start with my cream cheese flatbread. Very simple recipe. I'm using cream cheese as kind of the fat in the flatbread. You don't need fat necessarily, you can use just water, but it just gives it a nicer texture. So into 500 grams of flour we're going to get the 200 grams of cream cheese, teaspoon of baking powder, teaspoon of mixed herbs, and about a nice pinch of sea salt. So I have everything in there except for the cream cheese. I'm just going to give it a quick mix around like that, just to make sure it's all incorporated. And then we're going to get the cream cheese in there and we're going to knead it together. So now we have the cream cheese in there and we're just going to get our hands in there. The cream cheese is just going to bring all that flour together and mix it into a really nice dough. So our dough has nearly come together now, but it just needs a little bit more moisture. So quite often with dough you might need a little bit of water just to give it a helping hand. So I'm just going to get about 2 or 3 tablespoons in there. So I've kneaded this for a good 8 to 10 minutes now. As you can see, it's nice and smooth and elastic. And now we're just going to break it up into smaller balls and then we're going to roll it out flat for our flatbreads. So now they're rolled into balls and now it's just time to flatten them out on a nice floured surface. So this is the size of one of the balls. Basically, you just kind of fit your finger and your thumb around it like that. That's about the size you want. These are going to kind of be like a kid's snack size, more or less. So we're just going to flatten it out here and give it a good roll, and then we're just going to get it into the pan with a little bit of olive oil. It's going to bubble up slightly because of the baking powder in there, and it's going to be delicious. So now I have a relatively circular flat piece of dough. What we're going to do is we're just going to fry it off now, and in about a teaspoon of olive oil thereabouts. So wait till the oil gets nice and hot before you put your flatbread on there. Okay, so our oil is hot enough now. We don't want it smoking and we don't want it too hot. I'm just going to get our flatbread on there now, straight down like that. There we go, right in the center. And you just want to give it about 2 minutes on either side. So when it bubbles up nicely like this on one side and starts to come away from the edge of the pan, it's time to flip it over. So as you can see, you've got a nice golden brown colour. So we're just going to give it 2 minutes the other side and then we're all done. So there we are, there's your flatbread there. And you just continue the same process for the rest of the dough balls. So now I have all my ingredients ready to go pretty much. I just used half of that lime instead of the full lime, about half a red onion. And tomatoes I chopped a little bit chunky. You can have them as chunky as fine as you want. They will go in near the end, so that's fine. Okay, so to start with, I'm just going to take this out. I'm going to start with a little bit of olive oil. Okay. About half of this onion. Okay, and then a little bit of coriander in there. So, first of all, we're just going to give this a good mash down. Okay, so I've crushed that for about a minute or so. Now I'm just going to get garlic in there. So that's about 1 medium garlic clove, basically. And I'm going to get about a teaspoon of salt in there. Not a quick crush. And then basically we're just going to get our avocado in next. So now our avocado, again, just crushing it is all we're going to do. It's only going to take about 2 or 3 minutes, basically. It looks like it's going to be messy, but it actually works out quite well. So the consistency of that is that it's not quite blended down completely, and you don't really need it to. You can have a few little lumps of avocado in there. There's nothing wrong with that, because you're going to have chunky tomato in there anyhow. So next we're going to get the lime juice. That's half a lime. I'm going to get the rest of my onion. Quick little mix around. And then we're going to get our tomato in there. So that's 1 small tomato, basically. I'm just going to give it a quick mix around like that. And we're going to finish it off with some salt and pepper. So just another touch of salt, a little bit of pepper and coriander. So that's our pepper and coriander just gone in there. Quick little mix around. Now at this stage, if you want to, you could add some jalapenos. If you don't have jalapenos, feel free to use like dried chili flakes or something like that, just for a little bit of a kick. Okay, so that's pretty much ready to go. So they are proper guacamole. That is so much better than any of that green stuff you get in a bottle in the supermarket, or that green stuff you get in the jar. Try it for yourself. It's absolutely excellent and really economical. Costs about 90 cents for that, all that. So enjoy. Okay, so for the chili, it's really simple. Half an aubergine diced, half a red onion diced, half a red pepper diced, and then we have some edamame beans. These are literally soybeans. You can pick them up in Tesco or Dunn's or anywhere like that. They're absolutely full of protein, probably about 20 grams of protein in that tin alone. Then we have a 3-bean salad. Also, you can pick it up in Tesco. Again, more protein in there. I got some Roma cherry tomatoes in tomato juice. That's going to be the basis of my sauce for the chili. And then I'm going to use some some chipotle chili paste, some tomato puree, and then I'm going to put a little bit of Cajun spice in there. So the Cajun spice is basically a teaspoon of cayenne, teaspoon of chili, teaspoon of garlic salt, teaspoon of chili salt, and then all you're going to do is put a little bit of thyme in there, and that will be your Cajun spice to go in there. Okay, so we're going to start by getting the red onions into our pot, and also the aubergines and the red peppers. So we have everything there. We're just going to sweat it down for about 10 to 12 minutes. And those onions are nice and translucent, and your peppers are nice and soft, as well as the aubergine. So now everything's nicely softened down there. So now we are going to add our tomato puree, our chipotle paste, and our cherry tomatoes. And then also we're going to get in there our fajita spice. So for fajita spice, I've also added a teaspoon of cocoa powder in there, along with everything else that I mentioned earlier. Cocoa powder and chili just goes really well together. It's well worth a try, so give it a go if you can. So I'm going to get that in first. Give it a little stir. And then we're going to get straight in with our cherry tomatoes. I went for cherry tomatoes because I just think they pack a little bit more flavour than just your regular chopped tomatoes. Also, a teaspoon of the chipotle paste. Chipotle paste is a chili paste, but it's a little bit sweeter than most, so it's not as harsh. And then about a tablespoon of the tomato puree. So I'm going to let that cook down a bit, and then after that, for about 10 or 15 minutes, we will get in our edamame beans and our 3-bean salad in there. Okay, so that's cooked down for about another 10 or 15 minutes, and now we're just going to get the 3-bean salad in there. Full tin. I've drained this because they are in water, so I don't really want the water in there. I want it to be nice and pasty and stick together like a meat chili would do. Then get all of those edamame beans in there, and we're going to cook for about another 10 or 15. So that's all come together really, really nice now. I don't want the cherry tomatoes to break down too much because it's an added texture and it's an explosion of flavour once you get that into your flatbread. So at this stage I'm just going to give it a quick squeeze of lime juice, then about a tablespoon of freshly chopped coriander. Okay, and now we're ready to plate up.